Guys, welcome to today's class. Today I will be teaching you about how to use n8n to sign up to create a sign up workflow. We can call it the login and registration interface. So I'm going to be teaching you step to step, starting from the cloud itself, from webhooks. So you're going to be calling your data from the back end and over to VS Code over here. So we're going to be using this script right here for our today's class. I'm also going to be using Airtable, as you can see here. So we're going to be using Airtable for keeping our information instead of Google Sheet. So let's start. So first of all, let me explain the basic thing you need about this code right here. So roll this over. Yeah. So right here is our HTML code, and so I combine both the HTML, CSS, and JS in one single file, so that we won't, go around stressing over to a CSS file for maybe correction or an addition. So we can do everything right in one file. So right here we have our create account over here. So let's run this over. So let's call this. Now this is what we have. So I'm going to drop in the script for this also. You can use it for your own testing and then to start your own personal workings and so on. So let's go back to let's cancel this. Now first of all, we need to come to our n8n here and create our first node, which is webhook. So our first node is webhook. So what we'll be doing here is using the method called the posting method. We're going to use the post method, and the post method here we're going to use sign up. So what this does is that it tells us that we want to send an information over to our webhook over here, and this information is going to be from the front end. It's going to come from the front end to the webhook over here. And we're going to go to production URL, and then we're going to copy this and come back here. Now we're going to scroll down to this. Now the beautiful thing about this code is we packed all our values into something we call payload, and this is actually a JSON file. Do you understand? Because if you want to send up an information to the back end, it is rather, we will call it objective, or I will call it advisable. Place all of each of all these values in a JSON file, or we can call it an object or an array. So then this is simply an object, yeah, because we had this, we put them all into one single object. So then we call the object over here, and then now we use this posting method right here. So all we need to do is to change this URL to the one we copied from our back end, which is n8n. We're using n8n as our back end right now, so we don't need to go out to Node.js or to Django, before we can pick our information. So we're using the n8n cloud system. So we come over, and they should be working perfectly now. So one thing I want to correct here is form. I don't want us to use form, because if we use the form detail, we might be having issues with reloading, and I don't want it to reload because we'll be waiting for the back end to give us a piece of information. So I don't want it to reload actually. So let's call this form. Okay. Yeah, we have this code already. Okay. So let's refresh. Let's come back here. Yeah, this is the normal. And let's publish this over. We just want to do some field testing right now to know if our front end successfully sent our information forward. Then we come to execution. Let's just put in a random name. access. Let's use the password. So let's come over here to see if we have an execution. And let's re-click this. Now, okay, one more thing to correct is this button over here. Now, the type should be button and an ID should be submit. Submit button. So right here, let's change this to document that get element by ID. Submit button. Now we change this one to click. Now let's reflect this information over here. Okay. Creating an account. This should work out right now. Now yeah, this is successful. So beautiful thing about n8n is that you can check the responses or the execution of your webhook. Not only just webhook, anything you're running on n8n, you can check the execution, the data response, if it's working out, everything, you can check them out. So let's check this in JSON. So right now, let's go down. Yeah, right here we have body, the name, every details according to we sending them right here as an object. Yeah, right here as in JSON, we send them over, we stringify it with JSON, which means we change it from an object. We it's like camping them into from it's just like you're changing something from text to JSON, or you're changing from an object to JSON. It's still almost all the same, but we just have to do that, and it's not really compulsory. We can remove it from JSON and it's still going to work perfectly. But let's just stick to that. Right here we had no response because we gave it no response. So we want to connect this to Airtable, so that all the information we received earlier, we want to send them all to Airtable. Now we're going to click here and search for Airtable. So we click Airtable, and now we go for create a record. Now create a record, or we have to add our credentials right here. So I'm going to come back here to build by. So you can access this anywhere. Airtable build. Yeah. So in order for you to access your personal OTP, you can use this airtable.com/create/token, and I'll drop everything in the comment section also. So let's come back here, let's regenerate the token, and we have this here. So let's use this, save. Yeah, now it's working out. So we can use this. What this Airtable does is gives us like jars for saving records, data, and information. The same thing goes to when you have Google Sheet. You can basically save things, save records on Google Sheet. So right here we're going to save our records using Airtable, because of since I've been working with a lot of complex data and then data records and data entering, Airtable has actually been the version of it that I love the most. So we're going to access that right here. So let's use new base. That's where our list is coming from, new base. So we have let's choose a table. It's table 1. Now we want to. So now you see one beautiful thing about Airtable is going to tell you want to send values to send. Are you sending values under this column? Are you sending values under this column? If you notice, we have 3 right here. 1, 2, 3, and of course we have 1, 2, 3. So Airtable is going to read all your columns out, and it's going to give you the right access to those columns over here. So let's go to expression, and let's say JSON that body that. So we want to access the name first. So right here we call it the name. So you want the name to be name. Yeah. order for you to target an output from a previous node, right now, if you check, we connected two different nodes. Information is coming from this webhook into the Airtable record, to the create a record using Airtable. So your information is coming from this to this. In order to get information from this, use JSON. We use just this minimal tag code to use JSON dot body dot name. So this will give us access to the previous node. The same thing goes to this one. Then JSON dot body password. Then same thing goes here. Expression dot email. Now let's try this. Let's publish and let's see the response. Let's read. Okay. Let's see the response right here. Okay, yeah, this works out. So yeah, we have it here. So we can come back over and access this information. We don't even need to access it. We will now use another powerful node right here we call respond to webhook. Now what this does is right here we were expecting to have a response. So our front end is going to be awaiting a JSON response from the back end. So right now we're going to give that response over there at JSON and write a message and say sign up successful. Please check your email. Now that's all good. Now we're going to change this. I'm going to change the setting right here. It's going to respond to webhook node. Now I'm going to say it's going to respond to using webhook node. If we didn't change that function right there, we're going to have an error because webhook can respond to a lot of data. It can respond to the webhook node or when the last node finishes, which means if we did not use a respond to webhook, when this Airtable finish runnings or runs finish, it's going to send the piece of data back to this webhook. So we're going to the information is going to come from here back to this place. So whatever response we have in here is going to come back. But we want to give it a certain information. We want it to return a message. So we have to change this to our respond to webhook. Let's run this over. Now this should be working perfectly now. Okay, we're still having an error. So mostly this is a debugging aspect. It's not a problem. We have to read our errors right here. We don't have an error. So I think it's our code that is actually let's console log our data. So you can be able to see the response we have. Now here's our response. So let's change this. If data that message, now we should have that. Yeah, let's close this over. this is working perfectly. Now you can see account created successfully. So right from the back end here, it's all working well. So we have created our sign up system very perfectly, and how this is working so well. So in the next class, I will show you how to create login, a login system, and not just the login system. We will actually use an email automation to send OTP to a user. Then the user, we have to confirm the OTP on our system, and so we're going to make a complex amount of codings, and we're going to be making use of Node.js in the next class, and then we'll be prepared for that. So see you guys soon.